Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. So, we have yet another defense minister from Europe coming out and stating that Russia is supposedly going to attack a NATO member in the coming years. Okay, so this is Danish Defense Minister Troels Lund Poulsen. Okay, he's from Denmark, and he's stating that he has new knowledge that Russia will attack NATO in 3 to 5 years. All right, we've heard reports from other defense ministers as high as like 8 years. NATO's come out. Jens Stoltenberg just came out the other day and said that Europe needs to ramp up production of military grade weapons to prepare for a potential war with Russia, or at least decades of conflict, is what he was calling it. So, lots of defense ministers coming out over the past couple months. Also, even generals like chiefs of armies are coming out and telling their citizens they need to prepare. They need to build citizens armies. So my question here is, why is there so much talk about this? Like, why? What is really the real threat here? I understand that there's a possibility that Ukraine could lose this war, but I don't really see why Russia would want to attack NATO. What would be the reason for that? Um, but I could say here one thing is that while this war is going on in Ukraine, right now what is Russia doing? They're completely converting their economy to like a wartime economy, slowly, a little bit at a time. And they are producing a lot of military grade weapons all the time because they're at war basically with Ukraine. So they really would be in the primed position to attack if they really wanted to. I'm not saying that they will, but what I'm saying is that they would be in the position to be able to attack should they want to do that, because they'd actually already be in the mode of, producing these and manufacturing artillery and, missiles and tanks and whatever it might be. They're already doing that right now just by fighting Ukraine. So is that why NATO's worried about this? We'll have to see. But I got an article here. We're going to go over this just real quick. It says Russia could attack a NATO country within 3 to 5 years, Denmark warns. Danish defense minister is latest Western official to sound the alarm about Moscow's continued appetite for war. So it says here Russia could attack a NATO country in as little as 3 years, according to Denmark's defense minister, in the latest and starkest warning from a Western official about Moscow's appetite for confrontation beyond its war in Ukraine. Troels Lund Poulsen joined colleagues from Sweden, the UK, Romania, Germany, and others in sounding the alarm about Russia's increased defense spending spending potential leading to direct confrontation with NATO, which would test the alliance's collective defense pledge known as Article 5. It cannot be ruled out that within 3 to 5 year period, Russia will test Article 5 and NATO's solidarity. That was not NATO's assessment in 2023. This is new information that is coming to the fore now, Poulsen told Jyllands Posten, a Danish newspaper. European countries have increasingly warned in recent weeks that they believe Russia could try to undermine NATO in the coming decade. In private, many worry that an election victory for Donald Trump in November's U.S. presidential elections could embolden Russia further. I'm wondering if they're talking about this because of what Trump mentioned at his rally the other day. He was talking about how he told a country that wasn't maintaining their 2% defense budget for NATO that he would not come to their aid if they were attacked by Russia. I'm not sure if that's part of this idea here, that they're afraid that Trump is not really going to be the type to stand up for NATO because he has a lot of problems with NATO that he doesn't like defense budget being one of the big ones. So he's been kind of wanting to get out of NATO for a long time, and I think that's what really Europe is preparing for, because if you notice, Europe is mainly the only countries that are really talking about, a potential war with Russia. It's not so much the United States or Canada or any countries that are really further away from Russia, right? It's mostly the European countries that are especially close to Russia that are preparing. So I thought that was very interesting. I'm not sure if there's any correlation there, but it's very possible. So Sweden's military chief and prime minister have both this year warned its citizens to prepare mentally for war, while German and Estonian ministers have said that Russia could be able to attack NATO within 5 to 8 years. So see lots of countries over there in Europe reporting the same exact thing. While Kiev's Western allies have struggled to agree further funding and to ramp up arms production for Ukraine, Russia has rebooted its military-industrial complex and has secured weapons from countries such as Iran and North Korea. So you see what I'm saying here? That's what I was mentioning earlier, that Russia's already in like a prime position. They've already got, supplies from other countries coming in. They've got their own supplies and they've got their manufacturing boosted. They're already supporting a full-on war just in Ukraine alone. And yes, many might think, okay, well, their stocks are low. They're taking a lot of losses and this and that, but they've already got their production up and going already, which many of other countries don't. Many countries in the West don't have their production of weapons and supplies going. If anything, it's the opposite. They've got no supplies. They've depleted a lot of their stocks and their inventory of weapons that they've given to Ukraine. And at the same time, they're not producing anything, or they're producing very little. So I think that's what Europe is worried about, that if that were the opportunity for Russia to attack, then that would go really bad for Europe. And there was just a report I put out just, I don't know, a week ago, that the UK was reporting that they would be out of the fight within 2 months. Like, they have so little supplies, so little troops, so little everything, that if they were to go to war with a country like Russia, they would be out of the fight within 2 months. They would run out of supplies, they'd run out of ammunition, they'd run out of everything. So when you look at all that as a whole, I see the reason why NATO is concerned here. I don't think it's so much that they really are concerned that Russia could attack. I think they're just concerned of the possibility, okay? Just the fact that Russia's already got things going. So there's a reason to be genuinely concerned, said Polson. Russia's capacity to produce military equipment has increased tremendously. Russia potentially has the will to launch attacks. Now they can also have the ability in terms of military capability earlier than we expected. So in some sense, I get why these defense ministers are worried. It just goes to show it's a little scary to see that that NATO and Europe primarily may not be prepared for something like that should it actually happen. And will we know? We won't know until the time comes, obviously, right? And some might say this is like fear-mongering and, these people are just pushing for war. And I totally get that. I agree with you if you feel that way. But at the same time, the concerns are there. I do see what they're talking about, and anything is possible, Russia said they weren't going to invade Ukraine, and then just, what was it, weeks or months later, they went ahead and did it anyway. So Vladimir Putin did come out in that Tucker Carlson interview the other day, if you guys have seen that, and he did mention there, he's like, what interest do we have with NATO? We have no reason to attack NATO. Why does NATO keep saying this, that we're going to attack them? We have no reason to. Well, he did say that about Ukraine too, and then he went into Ukraine. So I'm just making that point. So, no one is ever going to telegraph their message if that's really their plan. If anything, they would want to deflect and say, no, we're not going to do that, but then actually come by surprise and do that. Do I think that would happen? Personally, no, I don't think Russia would do that. But again, in today's world, everything is kind of backwards and we never know what can happen here. So anyway, that's going to be it that I have for this video here. But yeah, yet again, another defense minister or a top official of a country coming out and warning in Europe that they need to get prepared for war with Russia. So I just wanted to get that to your attention and let you be aware of that. And I hope you got something out of this. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this video, please like the video. And if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And again, thanks again for being here. I'll see you all later. Everybody have a great day. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.